Around the Hong Kong tycoon William, there are two spoiled girls. One pouts and calls him uncle, acting all sweet and cute. The other one makes him lose control in bed. The latter is me, and the former is Sophia, who hates me to the core. She's willful, spoiled, and ruthless. The day she pushed me into the sea, she laughed so hard she couldn't straighten her back. You cheap canary, daring to compete for his favor. I'll throw you into the sea to feed the fish. Throw me, throw me. After all, I'm carrying William's child, and I'm wondering how to provoke his wrath to the max. William controls both the legal and illegal sides of Hong Kong. The paparazzi say he is ruthless, cold, and indifferent to women. 2 years ago, I quietly appeared by his side with a pure, innocent face. It wasn't until I got closer that I realized he wasn't the abstinent type at all. After countless tangled nights, William took off his cold, aloof mask. He ripped off my sexy black camisole, pulling me into the depths with him. The high-end, dry mattress was soaked with sweat, carrying the masculine scent. On July 14th, the rumored day when the gates of hell open, William returned to the villa reeking of alcohol. The night was dark like ink. He took off his well-tailored suit and raised his hand. I obediently walked over and sat on his strong, long legs. Faint shadows fell. William exuded a heavy, intoxicating emotion. I cupped his well-defined face, kissing him on the eyes, nose, mouth, then down to his sensitive Adam's apple. The man beneath me chuckled lightly. It's only when I'm with you that I find a moment of peace. I knew. William had fought his way out of family battles. His brothers betrayed and hurt each other. He's extremely paranoid, and any woman who approaches him, whether an A-list actress or a marriage prospect, he sees as having ulterior motives. Except for me. Oh, wait. There's another girl, Sophia. In terms of seniority, William has pampered her longer. Just this morning at 3 a.m., she dared to call him. He pressed the speakerphone, and her sobbing voice came through. Today is Dad's death anniversary. I dreamt of him again. Uncle, can you come keep me company? I lay on the man's chest, clinging to his neck, unwilling to let go. It's the ghost festival. It's not safe to go out at night. Let's wait until dawn, okay? When I met William's cold, emotionless gaze, I obediently climbed down. My expression was full of disappointment and worry. When I turned my back, he pulled aside my messy hair and kissed my earlobe forcefully. Sophia is just a child. Don't argue with her. Yes. Anyone who's pampered like that, no matter how old they are, is a child. Even if she's 1 year older than me. I angrily kicked him. If she's a child, what am I? William reluctantly pulled me into his arms, kissing my damp red lips repeatedly. You're a little demon, irresistible. I blushed, burying my head in the blanket, making a sound full of embarrassment and reluctance. Let John drive you. You'll get arrested for drunk driving. MHM. When he closed the door, his gaze softened in a way he didn't even realize. This wasn't the first time Sophia had taken him away from me. She was drunk. She'd fought with friends. She'd been harassed by men on the street. She always had a reason to call William to her side. The paparazzi, who had seen it all, secretly clicked their tongues at how spoiled she was. On the way to the beautiful country, Sophia suddenly got acute appendicitis. William turned around without a second thought. Even if it meant losing an order worth billions, he still rushed back to her side. Countless similar incidents happened. Many people suspected that William's indifference to women in the past was because he was waiting for her to grow up. However, rumors had circulated for a long time, but no one had ever seen an extraordinary relationship between them. Despite the fact that many women who tried to get close to William were either blacklisted, disappeared, or had their reputations destroyed. Sophia proved time and again that her position in William's heart was unshakable. She was the one he held most dearly. Until I appeared. But William protected me well. He never exposed me in public. We met at university. With my ponytail, I was sexy and beautiful, but I'd never been in a relationship. I was just a simple, but extraordinary girl, who worked hard to get into a prestigious financial program at a top university. He had his people investigate. They found that aside from being abused by my father and losing my mother early, my background was as clean as a blank sheet of paper. My persona was pure and inspiring. I'll never forget the day Sophia discovered me. She went hysterical, smashing everything in the luxurious apartment, slapping me several times. William finally lost his temper and protected fragile, beautiful me behind him. Sophia cried, "Uncle, don't you want me anymore?" His heart softened in an instant, letting her fall into his arms. "With me, you'll always be first." But men always have weaknesses. The flesh is weak, too. In order to take the #1 spot in William's heart, I didn't just work hard to get close to him, I also turned off the lights and painstakingly studied 10 gigs of adult films. Hard work pays off. When he left me, he wasn't as decisive as before. At the high society party, a senior from a university, Henry, invited me to attend. Sophia, who always loved showing off, showed up wearing jewels and haute couture. When she saw me, the smile on her face disappeared. "Emily, how dare you show up?" Sophia looked down on me, thinking I was just a toy kept by William in his golden house. I'd been his kept woman for 2 years, and none of my college roommates knew. I was a secret existence, unqualified to appear in high society circles. But in reality, it was William who didn't want to expose his weakness. When we met, he had arranged for me to arrive at a designated location first, then his driver took me to his luxury apartment. Until one day, a crazy paparazzi nearly barged into my bathroom. William took me to his highly secure Yinding villa. Faced with the scornful Sophia, I stood my ground confidently. "Miss Sophia, I'm an outstanding graduate of Hong Kong City University. I know a few prominent alumni, nothing special, right?" Sophia sized up my figure-hugging gown that reached down to my ankles, her eyes flashing with venom. "What are you even worth? Last night, with just one phone call, Uncle came to see me and gave me the pink diamond necklace I bought at the auction, worth $6 million. What did he give you? That dress? It's probably rented." She wasn't wrong. William never accompanied me on shopping trips, nor did I ask for extravagant gifts. But what could I do? I spoiled him in bed, and he patiently taught me business strategies. Isn't that more fun than just buying things outright? Sophia couldn't see any jealousy in my eyes, and her anger flared. "You slut, Uncle will tire of you sooner or later, and when that happens, don't expect to have a place in Hong Kong." I casually twirled the tip of my hair and smiled. Last night, he couldn't get enough of me, demanding me 3 times in a row. I'm afraid it won't be so easy for him to let go. Seeing the red marks on the back of my ear, she looked like she wanted to eat me alive. I opened fire. How pathetic. You only dare to secretly love him, but you can't even bring yourself to climb into his bed. Sophia, unable to hold back her temper, threw the wine glass at me. It shattered across the floor. The shards dug into my calf, and blood started to flow. Henry noticed and immediately rushed over to check my injury. "Miss Sophia, I'm the event organizer. Could you explain why you intentionally harmed someone?" His boldness was something I hadn't expected, especially since in Hong Kong, Sophia had been so pampered by William that she was above reproach. "She's the one who provoked me first." Henry was about to step in on my behalf, but I stopped him. "Miss Sophia probably feels that I haven't treated her well enough. After all, guests are guests, and I can apologize." Sophia looked smug. "Kneel down and clean up the wine you spilled." Henry was about to refuse when he heard a familiar male voice from behind. "Sophia, stop causing trouble. Uncle, that woman is bullying me." Sophia flung herself into William's arms like a little bird seeking shelter. I took 2 steps back. My high heel twisted, my body swaying, and my curves became even more pronounced. Henry quickly steadied me. "Did you sprain your ankle?" William's eyes were cold, his gaze locked on my waist. "Oh no." Henry's hand was still resting there. I wanted to push him away, but instead, he swept me up into his arms, muttering, "You hurt your foot playing tennis, it could be a recurring injury." I glanced back at William. There was an overwhelming rage in his eyes. I woke up groggy in the apartment I rented. William, in his usual dignified way, came to see me. He limped as he opened the door. He pinned me against the sofa and roughly kissed my lips. "Emily, how dare you let another man touch you?" His kiss was punishing, as if he wanted to steal all my breath away. After a long while, I was weak in his arms, and playfully complained, "Senior Henry doesn't like women, I treat him like a sister." Those words instantly soothed the man's frenzied emotions. William paused. "Even sisters aren't allowed." Such possessiveness. I bit my lip. If he didn't help me, should I just lick up the spilled wine? "I'm not a dog." "You're definitely not. Sophia's been spoiled by me, I've already taught her a lesson." He added, "She's just a little girl, immature. Just avoid her from now on." Sophia really was the apple of Uncle's eye. I lowered my head, gently playing with the tie clip on his shirt. "Got it, I won't compete with Miss Sophia for anything. She's celebrating her birthday this Saturday. I'll go and apologize." William looked pleased. "I've booked a cruise for Sophia as a birthday gift. If you like it, I'll get you one too." I wasn't interested in getting the same thing as everyone else. If I wanted something, it had to be better. Looking into William's lustful eyes, I obediently kissed him. "Your gifts are so precious, I guess I'll need to prepare a big gift for Miss Sophia too. One that she would never expect." Sophia truly held the top spot in William's heart. He was a busy man, with every moment of his day meticulously planned. It was difficult to even find a gap in his schedule. But for her birthday, he cleared an entire day and took me to a yacht party. The scene was lively, with Sophia's group of wild friends and their favorite male models. As soon as they saw me, the smiles on the main event's faces dropped. Of course. Who would want to see the person they hated most on their happiest day? I remained composed, smiling as I handed over the gift I had personally wrapped. Sophia sneered, "How pathetic." William rubbed her head. "Are the jewels and sports cars I gave you not enough? Get along with Emily." Sophia became even angrier. She ran to her friends, sarcastically accusing me of being good at seducing men. Seeing I didn't react, and with William busy on a conference call, she took off her $1,000,000 watch and, in a fit of pique, threw it into the sea. "Whoever finds it, it's theirs." The male models, all averaging 6 feet 1 inch, scrambled to dive into the water. Sophia didn't even care to watch, she only wanted to provoke William's jealousy. I feigned helplessness, lowering my voice and sighing, "Don't blame your uncle, he's always busy. In the past, he only had time for me at night." I knew exactly what words would provoke the spoiled girl before me. Her eyes burned with rage, and she glared at me. "You're nothing but a vixen with good skills in bed." I smiled gently, my pale fingers brushing over my stomach. "Don't be so harsh, maybe one day my child will call you sister." She stared at me in disbelief, then exploded, "You slut, uncle will never have a child with you." "Why not? I'm beautiful, I'm highly educated, and I'm smart, anything is possible." "You're not a noble lady, how could he possibly be interested in you? Looks like you don't know uncle very well. He never does arranged marriages with those women." I lowered my voice. "Or are you waiting for him to marry you? But I think he'd rather be your uncle, don't you feel that?" Sophia, having had her weak spot hit, furiously shoved me into the sea. Her words were utterly cold. "No one is allowed to save her, let's see how long she can show off." The seawater was so cold. I had told William once that I nearly drowned as a child and was too afraid to learn how to swim. That was a lie. If I didn't struggle miserably, how could I slowly wear down Sophia's standing in his heart? I woke up in the hospital. My small face was pale, making people feel sorry for me. The painful swelling in my abdomen felt like something was dying inside. William's expression was serious, but his actions were gentle. "Are you pregnant? Why didn't you tell me?" I tugged at the corners of my mouth, forcing a smile that was more painful than tears. "Mr. William, I knew you wouldn't want it. I was planning to have it removed when I found the time, but I didn't expect." Losing the baby didn't seem to make him particularly sad. He was an illegitimate child himself, and he had endured a period of humiliation and hardship. Before marriage, he would never allow any woman to have his child. But his obvious defense of the perpetrator was too much. As I had expected, William thought I would accuse Sophia, so he instinctively defended her. Sophia said it was your accident, you slipped and fell into the water. My eyes burned with disappointment as I struggled to keep my voice steady. Is that what she said? I want to hear your side of the story. But what for? To prevent Sophia from causing an accident, William had installed hidden cameras on the yacht. He didn't want her to feel upset about being watched, so he never told her. I had deliberately chosen a spot that would provoke her into taking action. Leaning against the head of the bed, my eyes reddened. Yes, it's my fault. I slipped and fell into the sea. Fortunately, I was rescued. William leaned closer, his gaze deep. It was as if he was trying to see through me. But it lasted only a moment. I blinked, and large tears fell from my eyes. I reached up to wipe them away. Sorry, I lost control. William wasn't a patient man, he hated seeing women cry, especially Sophia. But this time, he pulled me into his arms, softly comforting me. Good girl, you're young, and you'll have children in the future. I sniffled, obediently agreeing. I wasn't ready to be a mother anyway. You know my family background is poor, and without a real home, I won't bring a baby into this world to suffer. William was stunned for a moment. He could never marry me. The father of the child I spoke of could only be someone else. His slender chin was gripped roughly by his hand. Emily, do you want to have a child with another man? I didn't resist. I held his hand in return, sincerely assuring him, Mr. William, I'm not trying to be a golden bird flying to the top. If you hadn't helped me, my aunt would have had no money for treatment and would have died, and I wouldn't have been able to finish my studies. Don't worry, I won't end this relationship on my own, unless a heavy kiss landed. It felt like punishment. William wiped the tears from the corner of my eye, with a warning tone, you can't leave without my permission. His tall body completely enveloped mine. I hid my sadness, holding him back. I'm sorry, baby. In this dirty world, you weren't meant to stay anyway. As a form of compensation, William let me join the company, specifically in the venture capital department. William had a sharp eye for investments, and the several projects he poured money into had made huge profits. This was the main reason he had successfully ousted his half-brother and climbed to the top. Sophia was also at the company, doing nothing but taking the money. William just wanted to gild her with a title. Just like in the past, he had poured money into her school to get her a prestigious diploma. Every step was a form of protection for her. At the company, Sophia made things difficult for me. William was clear about keeping business and personal matters separate and would never step in for his little bird. I wasn't angry. I treated colleagues to afternoon tea at my own expense to build good relationships. As a result, when the spoiled young lady demanded I serve her tea, there were always people who stood by me and even helped. One day, I indulged myself a little. Claiming that I wasn't feeling well after the miscarriage, I refused to go to the villa to be with William. His tone had a trace of mockery. The little bird's wings have grown strong. I smiled and joked a little, then turned my attention to preparing a few insightful investment plans, working overtime with the connections I had built in the past. Months later, the department head praised me in front of William. Emily is beautiful, and her vision is sharp. Truly, a young talent. In the conference room, he led a round of enthusiastic applause. William's lips curled into a faint smile. He adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses, looking like a refined rogue. His gaze on me was no longer limited to the shallow pleasures of the bedroom. There was more admiration and affection in his eyes. Back at the villa, William taught me more business warfare strategies. I sat on his lap, giving him a kiss as a reward. The man's mood lifted, his hand caressing my slim waist while the other wandered into my clothes. I pressed down on his mischievous hand, my eyes showing a hint of grievance. Promise me you'll always use protection. No more babies. He smiled, not entirely amused. Don't you want to give me one? No. I didn't tell you, but my mom actually died because of my dad. I nearly didn't survive either. My childhood was full of misfortune, and I don't want my baby to go through the same. William had done a background check on me. He only knew that my father was abusive, my mother died young, and I later lived with my aunt. But what he didn't know was that in a poor and remote mountain village, husbands didn't have to pay for killing their wives. My mother was hardworking and kind, but she couldn't give my father the son he wanted. Whenever things didn't go his way, he would beat her savagely. That winter, my uncle's family had a son. When my father came back, full of rage, without any warning, he started beating my mother. I stepped in to protect her, but he grabbed my hair and threw me aside. My mother tried to protect me but was kicked mercilessly for a long time. That night, she became dizzy and vomited blood. I was frantic, wanting to take my mom to the town doctor. My dad found out and swung a shovel at my leg bone. He was like a demon from hell. Bitch, don't think you can run away with your mom. My mom didn't get timely treatment, and she died from internal bleeding. My leg was broken, but my dad refused to get it treated and forced me to drop out of school to take my mom's place and serve him. Luckily, at that time, an older sister who came to teach in the village helped me, both financially and physically, and my leg was saved. She wasn't much older than me, but she told me, "The world outside is vast, if you work hard, you can grow wings and leave." From that moment on, I studied with all my might, never missing an opportunity to escape. William quietly stared into my teary eyes. "What happened to your father later?" After I left, he kept asking me for money. If I didn't give it to him, he would make a scene at my aunt's house, and I had no choice but to compromise. What happened after that? He became addicted to alcohol and spent all his money on drinks. In the end, he froze to death one winter. My gaze was downcast, as if I was mourning. I took care of his affairs, he was still my dad. A soft kiss landed on my forehead. "Emily, you're kind. No wonder you never argue with Sophia." I almost laughed. Kind? It was my indulgence that allowed my dad's alcohol addiction to grow. He killed my mom but walked away unharmed, and he even wanted to kill my aunt. Let heaven punish him. I didn't tell William all this to show off my magnanimity, but because empathy can make someone lower their guard. His original family was as broken as mine. William's mother was forcibly taken by his father, a man even more despicable, who used his legal wife to rise to power while secretly keeping a mistress. When the legal wife found out, she was furious. To protect his wealth, William's father personally dealt with his mother, leaving the young William behind. At that time, William suffered greatly. He was abandoned and fortunately met Sophia's father, who taught him how to fight and introduced him to the underworld. After returning to the William family, he made Sophia's father his shadowy henchman to help him seize power. Those before him laid the groundwork, and he reaped the benefits. That's why Sophia was so favored. Seeing me in the company, going from an insignificant nobody to someone my colleagues sought out, Sophia couldn't sit still. Because of my miscarriage, she couldn't just expel me from the company, so she was frustrated. But William's bottomless indulgence gave her hope. After all, I lost the baby and nearly drowned in the sea, yet my little uncle didn't mind. It was clear to her that, in William's heart, I was just a tool for his bed. What Sophia didn't know was that a woman's endless understanding and tolerance sometimes only evoke more of a man's pity. Soon, the opportunity came. There were problems with the business abroad, and William had to leave overnight. Sophia, using her status to threaten me, demanded that I attend Mr. Kai's business dinner. Knowing it was a trap, I went anyway. Mr. Kai was a fat, greasy man, privately known as the invincible salty pig hand. At the dinner, he looked at me with gleaming eyes. "I heard Miss Emily graduated from a prestigious school, has good abilities, and an amazing figure." Sophia, sipping her drink beside us, added, "Mr. Kai, Emily is very open-minded. She learned a lot from her sugar daddy in college. That's why she's way ahead of her peers." She was afraid others didn't know I was being kept, pushing me deeper into the mud. Mr. Kai laughed loudly. "I love girls who know what's what. We can discuss the contract details in bed." I watched coldly. Not long after, my head spun, and I felt myself go limp, slumping onto the table. Sophia and Mr. Kai exchanged knowing glances, their smiles full of meaning. Emily really can't hold her liquor. Mr. Kai, the room's ready. Please take good care of her tonight. Mr. Kai, familiar with the routine, took the room key and helped me upstairs, though I was unsteady on my feet. As soon as we entered the room, he stripped off his clothes. His face was flushed from the alcohol, looking like an overripe pig. I suddenly opened my eyes, trying to flee the room. Mr. Kai grinned. Sophia locked the door. You won't be able to leave until morning. Little beauty, she said, anyone can sleep with you as long as they can pay the price. I have money. If you stick with me, I'll make you my proper wife after a few more smart kids. Sophia often went behind William's back to drink and hang out in bars, mingling with all kinds of people. She liked to get girls drunk and defile their innocence. She thought if she used Mr. Kai to destroy me, William would completely despise me. She had made a perfect plan. But I had already anticipated everything. The drinks they prepared, the room they arranged, were all swapped out. I pretended to be drugged, waiting for this very moment. As Mr. Kai staggered toward me, I threw all his clothes out the window and climbed out through the window myself. The floor wasn't very high. A loud shout would attract the downstairs security. Passers-by thought I was attempting suicide and immediately pulled out their phones to call the police. Mr. Kai, still oblivious from the drugged drink, had no idea what was going on. When he saw me trying to escape, he yelled that the cooked duck couldn't fly away. From the perspective of passers-by, a fat, naked man was trying to grab me as I climbed out the window. Beauty, come back. I smiled at the corner of my mouth. Without hesitation, I jumped down. Many people filmed this thrilling moment. Female employee of William Group falls from hotel after escaping harassment from unscrupulous businessman, life or death unknown. The headline was sensational. To boost the heat, someone exposed the details of that night. It didn't take long to uncover that Sophia had drugged my drink, got me drunk, and handed me over to Mr. Kai. The public was furious. They accused William Group's management of sending female employees to other men's beds just to secure orders. A victim came forward to testify. This wasn't the first time Sophia harmed a female employee. She wasn't genuinely trying to contribute to the company's performance, but rather, she was jealous of the female employees who gained William's favor, using others to do her dirty work. For a time, the women who had once been close to William, only to later disappear or lose their reputations, were dug up and gossip spread. No matter how much they tried to suppress it, it couldn't be contained. Sophia single-handedly pushed the company into the spotlight. William Group's stock price was greatly affected. When William returned, I was lying in the hospital. I was fine, just a little hurt in my leg. That night, I jumped from the building and landed on an air mattress prepared by the lifeguards. William's gaze was complicated. I knelt down and spoke first. Mr. William, I'm sorry. I didn't expect things to get so out of hand. But I never imagined that Sophia would drug my drink. He fell silent. Sophia's mistakes, William was too busy to fully understand the details. He just needed to give a word, and his subordinates would naturally handle it. But from the moment he started unconditionally indulging her, William became an accomplice. His immense power made him more unforgivable than an ordinary executioner. In the end, William couldn't bring himself to be harsh. Sophia pouted, cried, and claimed she had made the mistake because she had no father to guide her. He compromised. How laughable. There are many orphans in the world. Why hadn't others, like her, been so narrow-minded and ruthless? But William sensed something wasn't right. The person who reported Sophia had backing from a powerful force. They even dug up past cases that William had suppressed. The shareholders were panicked, demanding Sophia be removed from the company. William coldly ordered that she cause no more trouble, and didn't even scold her more than that. Sophia, however, didn't change her ways. She pointed at me and yelled, "It's your fault. Why couldn't you just stay in bed? Mr. Kai is so good in bed, why did you have to jump?" I didn't need to lift a finger. William couldn't stand it anymore. He slapped her hard across the face. Shut up. It's my fault for spoiling you. She was in disbelief. Uncle, you hit me for this woman? Go lock yourself in your room and reflect. Otherwise, I'll cut off your allowance. Sophia tried to hit me, but was forcibly restrained by the bodyguards. She didn't understand. What man would allow himself to wear a cuckold's hat? William treated me like a pet, but he wouldn't let anyone else touch what was his. William was utterly exhausted. As someone who'd lived on the edge, he had gray area businesses abroad. Recently, someone had been secretly attacking him, causing quite a stir. I listened patiently, like a gentle confidant. He opened a bottle of Martell and, before he realized it, had drunk half the bottle. He collapsed into my arms. I gently guided him, and he spoke a lot about Sophia's father. Sophia's father used to be a gangster and did well in the underworld. When William was being bullied, he treated him like a brother. Later, when he returned to the William family, Sophia's father killed his first wife's eldest son, and the younger son ended up in a vegetative state. It was an eye for an eye. On July 14 of that year, Sophia's father was attacked and severely injured. William knew that without his scorched earth tactics, it would have been hard to quickly seize power. He whispered, "Do you think I spoil Sophia too much? It's because I owe her father." Before he died, he entrusted his daughter to me, telling me to make sure she got a good education and a proper job, so she wouldn't have to live by the knife. People, once they have a weak spot, are easily controlled. I coaxed him to sleep. My hatred was immense. William owed Sophia's father. But what about the innocent ones who had been harmed by Sophia? I replaced Sophia and stood by William's side. Meanwhile, a major news story broke. The body of a C-list actress was fished out of the sea by fishermen. She had been stuffed in a suitcase, naked, and had visible marks on her neck. The internet buzzed with excitement. The actress's last public appearance had been at a hotel, where she had approached William, only to be stopped by Sophia. Although there was no evidence directly implicating Sophia, her arrogant and overbearing behavior over the years had left a deep impression. From childhood to adulthood, she had always had her way, bullying and harassing others. It had just been covered up. At the moment, William was busy dealing with the mess abroad and couldn't pay attention. Sophia vented her anger on me. She thought the jumping incident I caused had made such a big splash that it was responsible for her becoming the target of everyone. That night, William returned early to the country and asked me to pick him up from the airport. On the way, we had a car accident. He suffered a blow to the head, and his leg got stuck. As the car was about to catch fire, I didn't hesitate and pulled him out with all my strength. William, moved, had people investigate. They discovered that the brake pads of the car I was driving had been tampered with. The driver, John, provided surveillance footage, which showed Sophia sneaking around the garage. Unfortunately, they didn't capture her committing the act. The dashcam had also been tampered with. I collapsed into William's arms. "Mr. Kaismatter, Sophia must still be blaming me. But you've been so good to him, you shouldn't have to suffer because of him." His voice was cold and detached. "Send her abroad and give her $3,000 a month as living expenses." Sophia caused trouble at the villa several times but was blocked by the bodyguards. I looked down at her. "Thanks to you, the doctor said your little uncle has a brain injury and needs to rest." "Bitch. Why wasn't it you who died?" She tried to rush at me, but I slapped her across the face. "You dare slap me?" Another slap. Dazed from the blows, she stared at me as I cheerfully handed her an international flight ticket. "Go abroad and learn your lesson. Don't make your little uncle unhappy again. There's always an end to kindness." In the past, Sophia hurt others, and William turned a blind eye. But when the suffering came to him, he finally realized how painful it was. Without his umbrella of protection, all kinds of vengeful forces started to strike back. Seeing that Sophia refused to leave, I sighed. "He really doesn't want to see you. If he did, why wouldn't he at least tell you about the overseas treatment?" She clutched the sports car keys, intending to go to the company to find out where William had gone. The mountain road was particularly slippery after the rain. Sophia had always loved to race cars, and that night, she pushed the gas pedal to the floor. As she was turning, she tried to avoid an oncoming car and discovered the brakes had failed. On that rainy night, her $1 million sports car plunged off a cliff. She didn't survive. I didn't expect that the first one to act would be John. Actually, I had uncovered something horrifying a long time ago. Sophia had caused the death of John's granddaughter. She lured the 3-year-old girl toward the pool with a piece of candy and watched as she drowned. Sophia thought no one knew, and pretended to comfort John, saying that once someone was dead, they couldn't come back. John was an honest man who had worked for the William family his whole life. He wanted revenge, but with no evidence and fearing the rest of the family would be targeted by William, he had to wait for the right moment. When I found out he had installed a listening device in William's car, I suggested we join forces. Sophia never knew that we, the so-called insignificant people, all hated her to the core. John had cancer and knew his time was short. With William preoccupied, before Sophia could leave the country, John personally sent her off. I sighed. Even if we didn't kill her, the evidence we collected was enough to put her behind bars for life. John coughed violently, spitting out a pool of blood. It's all right, if heaven doesn't deal with the wicked, then I will. Rather than letting her have a chance to be freed from prison, it's better to end it all now. I could deeply empathize with his hatred. Many years ago, Sophia had drunk and driven, killing someone. A girl named Emma had witnessed it. Emma wouldn't accept a bribe and didn't want to leave the city, she just wanted the murderer to face justice. Sophia had someone take the fall for her, but in a fit of rage, she had Emma sold to northern Myanmar. Drunk out of her mind, she bragged to her friends, "Anyone who offends you, just hand them over to me. My father's old henchmen have a lot of power in northern Myanmar. They can help you with everything, from rape to murder, and make some money off her kidneys." Poor Emma, she never made it back home. These were things I later discovered. Almost no one knew that Emma had been part of our village's teaching program. Such a kind and excellent girl, who had worked hard to earn her place at a graduate school in the city, lost her life just because she had witnessed Sophia commit murder. Those who gather firewood for others shouldn't die in the cold and snow. When William heard of Sophia's death, he was stunned for a long time. But Sophia's reckless driving wasn't her first accident, so he didn't order a thorough investigation. The sports car that went off the cliff was only reported to John, who took care of cleaning up the mess. He didn't care to get involved. It was understandable. His brain and body had been injured, his consciousness couldn't stay fully alert. Misfortune kept piling on him. The police investigated Sophia's crimes, and all the facts came to light. The car accident, the murders, and her ties with criminal gangs in northern Myanmar, it was all true. But in the past, all of this had been covered up. As her protector, William bore undeniable responsibility. When he was brought in for questioning, William's original family's younger son had recovered. The company's shareholders and people from the William family turned against him, voting him out and expelling him from the family. William, furious, confronted me, asking if I had betrayed him. I blinked innocently, looking at him. "Mr. William, when you were hospitalized, you signed the authorization letter and entrusted everything to me. In other words, you sold yourself out." He looked at me in disbelief. "Emily, I've treated you so well, why did you betray me?" "To ask you that question. You kept protecting Sophia, did you ever think about the people she hurt? You even ignored the fact that she killed your child for the sake of loyalty." William had no reply. The constant blows he had suffered recently had exhausted him, his face unshaven. He no longer looked like the proud, handsome man he once was. After a few seconds of despair, he looked up at me. "From the beginning, was it all part of your plan to get close to me? To bring me to the 18th level of hell, for the sake of a teaching assistant?" "Yes. If you can protect the daughter of a gangster, why can't I fight for justice for a kind sister?" "Then, did you ever love me?" "Maybe I had a brief moment of affection, but it disappeared without a trace during the times you repeatedly indulged Sophia. If I could, I'd rather she had never harmed the innocent. And I've never truly met you. As I was about to leave, William's wife, now back in control, gave me a large sum of money. When William rose to power, his methods were ruthless, causing great suffering to his original family. In order to seek revenge, I allied with her. She agreed. But at that time, her younger son was undergoing treatment abroad. The previously vegetative young master was showing signs of recovery. I collected evidence of Sophia's crimes in Hong Kong and gained William's trust step by step. When the right moment came, William's wife assisted behind the scenes. From the matter with Mr. Kai onwards, public opinion was stirred, and she didn't shy away from pushing things along. William's later life wouldn't be easy. His brain was damaged, affecting his motor skills. He was sent to northern Myanmar by people working for his wife. The stronghold there, influenced by Sophia, was wiped out. William's life there wouldn't be pleasant. On the day he arrived, he had his legs broken. I didn't pay attention to what happened after that, because it wasn't worth it. When I returned to the school in the mountains, I donated a large sum of money in Emma's name. I found the apple tree from before and carved Emma's name into it. Once, in this place, she told me about the world beyond. When I had dropped out of school, it was she who brought me back. After my biological father killed my mother and broke my legs, I became so desperate that I even thought about jumping into the river. It was Emma who pulled me back from the brink of death. She said, even if you're in a deep valley, you must look up at the stars. She changed my name from Xiaodi to Emily, hoping that I would have poetry in my heart and stars in my eyes. When she saw my limp, Emma was heartbroken. The town's doctor said my bones had broken badly, and if I didn't have surgery, it would be beyond saving. Although her finances were tight, she borrowed money from all directions, determined to get me into the best hospital. If it weren't for this kind-hearted girl, my life would have been like stagnant water, rotting and stinking in the mountains. After the surgery was successful, I asked Emma, we were just strangers passing by, why are you so kind to me? Emma smiled. She said she was also an orphan. She had grown up eating from various households, relying on the charity of poor villagers to afford her education. Later, Emma got into a prestigious university and came to the bustling city of Hong Kong for graduate school. She planned to repay those who had helped her once she made some money. But an unexpected disaster swept her into darkness. When I learned that Emma had been sold to northern Myanmar, had her organs stolen, and endured endless suffering and humiliation, the light of my faith went out. Before my leg surgery, Emma held me, trembling with fear, and said, Emily, do you know? Some say the earliest symbol of civilization was a healed femur. It is longer than the bone in your injured leg, connecting the hip and the knee. In primitive societies with scarce medical resources, injuries took at least 6 weeks to heal. To care for the injured, companions took on the responsibilities of hunting, gathering, protecting, and accompanying. In the law of the jungle, it represents compassion, empathy, charity, and solidarity. I think you and I, both, have been the injured and the weak. If everyone stood by indifferently, civilization wouldn't have flourished the way it has. Emma was like a dazzling starry sky, guiding my path forward. For the rest of my life, I will carry her banner and pass on the kindness.